What's up, guys? It's Jared, and today I'm going to do a video just on Chien-Pao in the Temporal Forces post-rotation format. So we had EYC, we've had Orlando, and we've had Sao Paulo. So we've had a lot of events to at least get a sample size of how Chien-Pao is, performing. And it's been one of the more prominent decks in the metagame. Like, consistently, it's always been Charizard the number 1 most played and Chien-Pao as the number 2 most played, which actually surprised me. Usually most people don't opt to play Chien-Pao, but it's super nice people are actually playing it. So let's go ahead and dive in. We're going to first start with deck lists, and then I'm going to kind of try to talk through some of the card choices and then go into some of the matchups and maybe where you would need some of those card choices. So starting off with, this is actually the list that I used for EYC, the very first post-rotation tournament. So this kind of looks pretty standard if you remember it from pre-rotation, except the battle passes are now Buddy Poffin. So Buddy Poffin is a super nice card. Search your deck for 2 basics with 70 or less and put them on your bench. So we're not able to grab Greninja anymore, but we are able to use this at every single stage of the game. So we can actually establish our Bidoofs and Frigibaxes it's way easier not on turn 1. Now, this is actually kind of huge because a lot of decks, such as Charizard, kind of prey on us falling behind, kind of prey on us not being able to keep up with the Frigibaxes or Bidoofs. But with this card, we can actually just say, hey, you know what? Like, we're going to regain that tempo later on that you may have thought that you took from us earlier. So I really like Buddy Poffin as a card, but unfortunately, this means that we cannot battle pass Greninja, which kind of leads me to another card, which we'll start with the tech cards first. I guess we'll start with Ditto. So this is a card that like people don't play in Chien-Pao. I don't really know why. I think it's super good. I think Ditto is kind of a staple in the deck. Like, I've used it probably like I've probably raw opened it like 3 or 4 times each. I went to EYC in Orlando 3 or 4 times both days, and then an additional 3 or 4 times I would battle pass for this to transform start. So transform start says if it's in the active on your first turn only, you can switch it with a basic in your deck. And so most of the time this is Chien-Pao. Most of the time you are saying, hey, I have it's usually like you have a Nest Ball and a Poffin, or like 1 Irida and a Water Energy. And you need the Water Energy to retreat, by the way. If you don't have the Water Energy, Ditto's useless unless you start with it. But it's pretty much just saying, hey, I only have a limited amount of ball search cards to be in a game, which is not uncommon with Chien-Pao. Like, we can't have everything we want. Like, our Pokestops usually are not there for us. So actually, like, having a limited start is relatively common with Chien-Pao, which is why getting the Ditto is so crucial, because now, okay, with 1 Battle Pass and 1 Nest Ball and the Bidoof Energy starting the active, well, now you can actually get your Chien-Pao and Radiant Greninja by going, well, you get Frigibax too, which is also important. You Buddy Poffin for, like, Ditto and Frigibax, and then you can Nest Ball for your Ninja, retreat into Ditto, transform start in the Chien-Pao, and then Shiver, Chill, Conceal cards. So it really just enables that Shiver, Chill, Conceal cards that I'm always going to go for. I'm always going to throw up Chien-Pao, mostly because I always want to go first too, but I'm always going to throw up that Chien-Pao. Use Shiver, Chill, so the Ditto just works perfectly. Also going second, like if we just have 1 Irida, we start Bidoof, we have an energy. With 1 Irida, we can grab Radiant Greninja and Buddy Poffin, and then Buddy Poffin out Ditto Fridge, and then transform into Chien-Pao. I haven't used this that much though, because usually if you have an Irida, you also have like a Buddy Poffin. You usually have a couple things in addition to the Irida. It's mostly for when you're going first, but it does really help smoothen out those starts. So enough of Ditto. That's kind of the unique card that I play. We run the 3-2 Baxcalibur. I opted to go 360 HP Fridge, which kind of wasn't the best idea going into Orlando with a bunch of like US players playing Lost Box and Giratina, which I will talk about later, but we did make that decision. 3 Chien-Pao EX, I really like 3. Whenever I don't have 3, I feel like I have to be conservative on my Pokestops, because like if I mill a Chien-Pao, then it's just like I need to go chasing for Rod. I tried 2 POW, 3 Rod. I was pretty sold on running this for Orlando, but I've just wimped out like I always do. Like I haven't played a single tournament without 3-Pao, and I just think it's just so strong. It also gives you another more odds to like start with it as well. 2-2 barrel. Like I think a lot of people ran like a 3-3 barrel. Not a lot of people, I guess a couple of people, but a lot of people were talking about it and ran it for like EYC. I think people kind of shifted to like 2-2 barrel with some techs for Orlando. But kind of the idea behind the 3-3 barrel is just a consistency bump of it. And I have other cards to bump the consistency of it. Like I don't think that you don't really have the aren't fortunate enough a lot of time to get out to barrel. I guess with 3 it makes it better, but it's just one of those cards that will like clunk in your hand. Like the third copy will just always clunk. So I kind of wanted to not have that happen. And also like Bidoof start isn't great. I'd rather, turn those odds down just a little bit. But yeah, that's a barrel. 2-2 line has worked for me. 1 Greninja, obviously. 1 Iron Hands is like this card's broken. Like his card is so broken. Like if this card was able to come out on the field more, it would be like insane. But it can't. So you're kind of like limited by like, okay, do I have the Vessel? Do I have the Lightning not prized? Do I have the Hands not prized? Do I have access to Heavy Ball? So it's a lot of stipulations, but like this card's like insane. Like even if you take like 1 prize in the beginning, Zard drops a Lumen, and then they can't find a collapse. You just like chase it and then amp for 3, and then that's like game over. If you ever amp for 3, it's like that's the entire game. And then obviously against like Lost Box, it's like really really solid. And against Giratina, you can play around the Manaphy a lot better. I think a lot of Giratina are putting in Manaphy now because. Why are they doing that? Because they don't have Path anymore. Yeah, they have more. I think they just have more slots to put in cards. So we see Tina running Manaphy, which they should, because now Chien-Pao is really popular. So we definitely need this guy. I talked about Ditto. Spiritomb was a card of all time. So Spiritomb was a tech that I played it for EYC and I didn't play it for Orlando. The idea was that I was actually expecting control at EYC. Like I was expecting to hit either Snorlax or Pidgeot. Like I wasn't really concerned about the Pidgeot too much because like we can just like retreat and like we can just prime catcher we're killing the Pidgeot, and then it's like in my mind it's like then what do you do? Like to be fair, I haven't played a single game against Pidgeot. It's Chien-Pao. That's just a theory. But I played a lot against Snorlax, and I'm like, all right, this Spiritomb's probably gonna do wonders. I played against one Snorlax at EYC. I 2-0'd him. The entire time he's like, thanks for benching the Spiritomb, bring it up, and I'm like, fade out, and then he's like instant charge, and then I'm like, bench Spiritomb, kill. Like, you can't really do much with the Spiritomb in play. But the reason I put this in was honestly for Charizard. So I was actually testing. Which I will get to when I go over Reagan's list. I was testing Canceling Clone, which I feel like a lot of top players ran the Canceling Clone, and I felt like it was just too greedy. Like I just didn't feel like it was happening enough. To get Prime Catcher, a Baxcalibur, 3 energies, Canceling Clone, like Rare Candy, like you need a lot. And like the fact that like it's really the best against Zard when it's like really early on, like on turn 2, it's like you're getting that on turn 2. Like I'm lucky if I can attack on turn 2. Like I don't know what Chien-Pao you're playing, but like we're playing different Chien-Pao decks. So that's kind of why I went with the Spiritomb. It's like, all right, the idea was like, all right, we can lock Zard out of Rodom. I guess at the time I didn't really know Cleffa was a thing, so it's probably not good for that now. It also shuts off Lumineon, to be fair. Like I think Zard relies on Lumineon, so it might be worth kind of bringing back, but definitely not like hard of a Zard tech as I thought, but it is really good against control, and really, I think turns it favorable. Then the Iron Bundle is one which I'm pretty sure Reagan also played. I know a lot of players played the bundle. So this card doesn't, so like on paper, like in theory, it's not amazing, and really, in theory, what it's good for is like Radzard, number 1. It's good for like Snorlax, like so you can always take 2. The one in theory matchup, which is why I included it, was Future Hands, because I was expecting a lot of Iron Hands at EYC, and I was correct. And I kept it in for Orlando. I don't think I hit a single one though, so the bundle didn't do a ton in Orlando, but it still kind of carried its weight. It just Hyper Blower is just such a good ability, like. It's not even just for the fact that you can force 2 prizes. It's like the fact that you can force something up that your opponent doesn't want. Like it has a ton of niche scenarios. Like in Guardy, if you're playing against Guardy, for example, and you have a Chien-Pao in the active, and they have a Mimikyu, and it's like, no, you don't. Like, bye. Like, you obviously can't use this if they have like Klefki, because this is also a basic, but it works on Mimikyu and it works on Fluttermane. So like 2/3 of their like starters that they want to start against Chien-Pao, you can just go bundle buy. It's really good against Arceus, because like a lot of time they'll start like Bidoof, bench Arceus, pass, and then like you can just be like below her. And it's super easy card to get with like Nest Ball, Ultra Ball. It kind of like snags all those games where it's like, man, if I just had like an escape rope, then I would win the game. Then it like you do like that. That's called Iron Bundle. So like it's not like insane on paper, but like in practice, it wins enough games for it to be worth it. And it's also like discards itself anyways. But yeah, anyways, the on paper matchup of Miraidon Turbo Hands, I was expecting a lot of that, and the reason it beats that deck is they always go in with the Miraidon, and they most of the time don't get another Miraidon on the bench, so you're just able to go, okay, Hyper Blower, give me a 2-prizer, I'm gonna kill it with Chien-Pao. And it's really all there is to that. Like, you could Prime Catcher, but that's a lot harder of a card to get than this guy, which you can get with Irida, again, Nest Ball, Ultra Ball. So in my mind, it swung Future from being like even maybe a little favored to like, yeah, this is favored. Maybe not a ton, but I was comfortable playing this in the future for sure. So moving on to supporters, we have 4 Irida and 2 Cypher Maniac. So this card is really good, and I guess I'm glad that a lot of people also found out that this was very good, because I think a lot of people in the beginning were like, okay, maybe 1 Cypher, 1 Iono. Now everyone's just like solid 2 Cypher. I think 3 Cypher is too much. I think like Kieran played 3 Cypher for EYC, and I definitely don't think you need that, because you just don't have enough turns to play all of them. But yeah, this card's nuts. Like with Pokestop, like I also decided to run 3 Pokestop, because like this card with Cypher is crazy. Like you can just like getting 1 item with Irida is broken. Getting 2 items is like, it's not all the time we're broken. Like there's a lot of times where you'd actually rather spin the stop and draw cards with Greninja, see those other options before using Irida, because you always want to guarantee that water Pokemon. But if you only need 2 items specifically, I say only need 2 items specifically, like it doesn't happen that much, but you'd be surprised. Like you'd be surprised how much you need like Rare Candy, Baxcalibur, Superior, Prime Catcher. And it's like, that's 4 cards. How am I getting 4 cards from 1 supporter? You're not. Like, that's why it's like, it's better for like a more, like established setup. The Cypher Maniac, and but once you have that established setup, it's just like insane. Like you can just set up your board, you can like Iono proof yourself. It's just like getting out both the barrels. You can make like insane like Prime Catcher hands plays, like it's literally nothing. Yeah, this card's like honestly nuts. I wouldn't drop it to below 2 though, because like I always want to see this card. Like I always in the game, I always want to see one of them. Yeah, Buddy Poffin, like I mentioned, we're on 4 of those. 4 Nest Ball, 4 Ultra Ball. I just want consistency. 4 Superior, 3 Candy, 2 Rod. Like, I'm pretty sure that's all standard. Heavy Ball Vessel. All good cards. You all know them from Chien-Pao. This card changes the game. Like, this card is ridiculous. This card's nuts. We had Cross Switcher before, but Prime Catcher is, like, unbelievable for this deck. Like, the fact that Chien-Pao can, like, say I take 2 prizes whenever I want is like, before it was like maybe doable, but now it's definitely doable. Like this card changes the game, and like players have to be aware of Prime Catcher when playing against Chien-Pao. You can Cypher for it. You can Pokestop into it randomly. You can just be like, oh, Prime Catcher, hello. You can Irida for it. You can draw into it. You can play Irida and then draw Bib and then do other stuff and then play Prime Catcher. Just having 2 supporters in 1 turn is just broken, as we saw from Cross Switcher. So yeah, it's a very effective choice. Most broken card in Chien-Pao. This is a card I want to talk about. So this card, I'd like to show you the Limitless page for Boxed Order. Yep, that's it. That's everything. I will be the lone Boxed Order warrior until somebody else is brave enough to play it. So this is a card that I was like, I was dead set on this card. Like the second I saw it in the Temporal Forces like translations, I was like, this is going in Chien-Pao. Like I was like, this has to go in Chien-Pao. And I tested it for months and months. And you know, people were coming out with their lists, and I was like, okay, well, nobody else is playing boxed order, so maybe I'm wrong. And then so I started to doubt myself. And then like the night before, like in London, I was like testing like boxed order against Tina, and I was like, this is ridiculous. So like, yeah, I did ended up taking it out for Orlando. I wish I kept it in. Like this card is nuts. Like if you have, so okay, I want to point out. So let me first explain what it does. Search your deck for 2 items, reveal them, put them in your hand. Your turn ends. Right? Sounds terrible. Okay. It's only for turn 1. So that's the first thing. It's only for turn 1. The raw odds of you having it turn 1, I think it's something like 10 or 14%. Like it kind of depends if you have a Pokestop or you have a Greninja, you're able to conceal cards. But it's like, I think it's like 1 out of 7 or something games that you're going to have it. And you think about how many games you're playing during the day. It's like, okay, I just have that many. I think it's 1 out of 6 or something. I don't know. It's not a whole lot, but the games where you have it raw in your opening hand, you're just like, I win. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, I think I played it like 4 or 5 times at EYC, and I think every game except 1 I played boxed order, I won. And, like, there were some games, like, I played the Power Mirror against Kieran, and I, like, was behind. Like, my hand was terrible. I played box. And of course I wasn't disrupted, and I was just able to just like slam everything down. Normally you're grabbing Rare Candy Ultra Ball, but like you can also grab like Prime Catcher or something. It's usually Rare Candy Ultra Ball, like always, because you normally have like Poffin and stuff. This card's insane also going second. Like the odds of getting it going second go up a lot because you have Iridon Cypher Maniac. Not saying you want to blind second with Chien-Pao, like you still want to blind first, but a lot of people, once they realize you're playing Chien-Pao, they'll say, I'll go first. And so you're like, all right, I'm just going to like Pokestop, hit a Buddy Poffin, and then I'm going to Irida for boxed order. And like, I Ono me or I win, like essentially. And that's kind of the scenario that I presented all my opponents at like EYC. And it was just so cool. Like, I love this card. I'm sad people don't play it. Please give me friends on the Limitless page, but yeah, anyways, I really like this card. I think that like for Orlando, I like decided on a different tech, so that's obviously why I swapped it out. I think if you're deciding on other tech, this is like the 61st card. Like this is like, okay, I don't have anything else, and that's kind of what I went into EYC going. Like I don't have anything else. Like I have all the techs I want, and we're playing a boxed order. Like this card's just nuts. So yeah, and then 8 water, 1 lightning. So this is the deck I played at UIC. I got top 64. I ID'd my last round. I could have gotten 32. Both rounds I ID'd, by the way, were Tina, which sucked because I should have beaten them. But yeah, I ID'd just to get the money, which is like, why wouldn't you? This, I changed it up a little bit for Orlando. I kind of got burnt out and fizzled day 2. I kept playing against Lost Boxes who blind firsted into me because they knew I was playing Chien-Pao. Not fun. So I just kind of got burnt out, like all the travel and Pokemon and stuff. So I didn't do as great as I wanted to. The 2 changes I made though were I swapped Spiritomb for I caught Spiritomb in box, and the cards I put in were I put in the Vacuum, which was one of the cards. So the Vacuum, I kind of saw people hyping up like Ancient Box, and obviously like Jake Ewert got second place with it, and I hit a couple, so it was nice I had it in my deck. I think it won me one of my games. You can just Ninja and then Vacuum off of Vacuum off a Capsule, so you can like 2-shot with Ninja. I lost against a Heroescape Zard in EYC, so I think that gave me trauma, which is why I put in the Lost Vacuum. I was kind of ahead of that guy was ahead of his time though, whoever I played against, because that's Pedro won with the Heroescape Zard at Sao Paulo. So if I hit one of those, this guy would have come in handy for sure. You can also knock your Pokestops. Like Pokestop gives your opponent a surprising amount of resources. Like even in his Zard, like the amount of times that Zard can Pokestop into like an Ultra Ball or a Rare Candy is kind of insane. So like getting to vacuum that away before they can use it, like you say, I get to use it and you don't. It's pretty powerful, especially in the mirror as well. Like denying them Pokestop is really good. But of course you just need Pokestop for your deck to function. But like if you have a Lost Vacuum, it's like, all right, I get to use it, I get value, and you don't. The other swap that I made, is the 4th candy. That's right. So I played 4 candy instead of the box. And I guess the idea was like, I was kind of scared of Erie, and this was kind of like Erie and Devo, which I guess I was also kind of correct because of kind of the emerging. I forgot Perth also happened. Sorry, Australia. Perth also happened. Because it controls Zard, right? Yeah, so I was kind of scared of like Erie, like in Zard, not even just control Zard, but just like Erie in general. I was like, okay, so if they knock a candy and then they Devo and then they boss and they win, like I was like, that's a little sketch. Or even if they like, even if I need to discard a candy early, like I was just never scared of like, just never scared of that. I was a little scared with 3 candy, but now I was like, I'm not scared at all. Also because I figured I'm like, well, I'm using boxed order for candy anyway, so I might as well just play a candy. I ran into a lot of awkward starting hands though, where I'd have like double candy, and it was like, if this was a box, I would have won. Like if it was a box, I would have won the game. Because it wasn't a box, I think I just like lost all the games I had like clump candy starts. So yeah, that's kind of my take on the candy. I tried 4 because Kieran played 4, and I was like, okay, this is cool. I enjoyed always having candy backs, but it's like you just have Iridan, Cypher Maniac, and like Pokestops and Ninja, and like I feel like you don't really need the 4th candy. It was kind of a nice luxury. I think it's the only time I've played 4th. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was the only time I played 4 candy though, and it was a time. Don't know if I do it again, but those are 2 changes I made for Orlando. So now we can get into Reagan's list. Wait, Reagan did a lot better than me, and it was played. I didn't know these guys all played the same list. So we got Reagan as 4th, Jishan at 18th, Johnning at 25th, and Lucas at 48th. They all played the same 60. So let's go ahead and break this down. So right off the bat, we see the 70 HP fridge. I saw Lucas play. I was like right next to Lucas playing against Tina next to me, and I was sitting against like Lost Box getting like Sableye to death, and I'm like, I would die for one of those. Like I would die for one of those. This was kind of a mistake on my part. I think this is definitely correct. Like I think I just didn't want to start with it. Like I just wanted, especially going to a new format with new cards, I just wanted to, be as consistent as possible and just always being able to retreat. But I think with the meta established and Giratina showing itself as like a deck, and Lost Box also showing itself to be a deck, it's just US loves comfy. I think it only makes sense that, especially if you're in the US, to like play one of these guys. A lot of the counts are the same from the list that I played. The only 2 differences. Oh, they played 3 POW and 3 Rod. So I didn't notice this. I did not know this. I like this. I really like this because I was missing 3rd Rod. Like several games at Orlando, there'd be a lot of games where I'd either have double Rod start, or I'd prize a Rod, or I'd have to discard a Rod early. I'm playing against Zard where I like want to see a Rod and I'm fishing for it the whole game. So I really like the 3 Rod. I think I did play 3 Rod 3 POW at LAIC, or no, I played at San Antonio, and I kind of felt like it was a little clunky, but they're not running the Ditto with a box or any of that garbage. So yeah, I do like the 3 Rod. Obviously not cutting the POW for it is nice too. The other differences they ran, one is Silene. So a lot of Chien-Paos played this card. If you go to the people who played it, you see a lot of Chien-Paos on here, like a lot of them. This is just from London and EYC. London is EYC. London, Orlando. You see a lot more playing it for Orlando, and I think the reason is because of the reasons are because like A, Snorlax, and B, Control Zard. Like it's the same thing about like Eerie proofing yourself, where it's like you can the Eerie you're superior, you're suddenly like back in the game. I just don't really love that. Like, I don't really love that against like Control. Like, I feel like you got bigger problems than Eerie. Like, I feel, and to be fair, I think that Pidgeot Control is the more popular, or at least the better of the 2 Control decks, right? So I feel like they're trying to use Eerie a lot more. Whereas something like Control is like trying to fish a Bidoof with Erica. And I guess I was pretty used to that version of it. So I was like, all right, like if I'm used to them trying to Erica, then like Silene's not going to do a whole lot, because like I have bigger problems, like them just pulling out the Bidoof. Like I had a game in Orlando where like he man-tined the Bidoof, and I'm like, don't know how Silene would have. I guess I could have Silene the Bidoof on the top of the deck. Shut up. But like, anyways, yeah, I think this is mainly for like Eerie, and I kind of had the same idea with like the 4th candy. This is just in supporter form. It's all right. I don't know. I personally don't love it. I personally think that Towards Art is better than Control Zard. Like I just like Towards Art a lot better, and I think a lot more people are playing it. I think people are trying out like that Control Zard thing, but I don't know. I'm not really scared of it. I also haven't played against it, so talking all this smack, and I'm gonna get bodied by Control Zard at the next regional. So that it's gonna be fun. But I don't know. I think that like if you're hard teching for Eerie, you've already lost. Is kind of my logic. I did play the fourth Candy, but it was more for consistency. If you're hard teching for the fourth Eerie, you've kind of already lost a game, and you're saying like, oh well, I'm gonna get Eerie. That's like most of the time you don't. Like you just play your cards and then you just Eerie it for the retrieval, and it's like they play like I've gotten Eerie as Pao, and it's like not you get to take a nest ball. Good job. That's just my take on it. I know these guys are trying to win the tournament, and so it definitely makes sense to like hard tech Control. And I guess not playing Spiritomb is kind of valid. I feel like I would have rather played Spiritomb because even in Pidgeot, they kind of rely on that Rotom early to do anything. But yeah, I mean, it's respectable as like a hard tech to control, but I don't think you're using it other than that. I don't think it's like, oh, I get another Prime Catcher. It's like, just play Bus. Like, it's not even worth playing a Silene for. Not worth flipping Double Tails. And then the other card that they played, which I said I was going to talk about, was the Canceling Cologne. So, this card, I think, is pretty greedy. Like, I think that it doesn't happen. Ironically enough, it's actually really good with Boxed Order. I have not played this with Boxed Order, but, like, if you're gonna run this, you gotta run it with box because like that, like getting Catcher Cologne turn 2 is like a lot to ask for, but getting it with a turn 1 box is pretty likely because like you just immediately get 2 items and then you can Pokestop, Concealed, Irida for the last one. That's pretty likely, but like this card's really it really shines early game in the Zard and obviously like in the Guardy as well. In decks, like if you're playing against Tina, like you don't want to catch her clone. You just want to I just want to catch her Tina because Tina's the threat. Like it's a big body. If I have catcher, I'm going to use it to take 2 prizes. Why do I need a second card to take 2 prizes? Like sure, I can remove Comfies from play, but like I don't know. It just seems like a lot I need to get out, and it also kind of leaves you vulnerable. Like because you're getting all this like stuff out super early on, and even if you're playing against like Zard and you get like Catcher Cologne, they have a third Charmander, they can like Rare Candy Zard, Counter Catcher Bib, Iono, and it's like you're like, oh no, what do I do now? It's like nothing, you lose. So even when you do get it, you're kind of more susceptible, depending on their setup. I think it's a fine pick if you're only trying to tech against Zard. I think it's better than the Spiritomb, to be fair, against Zard. And Zard is the number 1 deck. So you know what? Like, this is fair. I just don't think it's a strong card. Like, I don't think it's like... It does not come up more than like 10, 15% of the time. Like, it just really doesn't. I guess... in the Zard, you can also, like... You can also go for, like, Ninja late game play. Like, you can go Ninja... give them a 1 prizer, right? If you establish your board correctly, you can, like... Catcher Cologne, kill Manaphy, and maybe another Charmander that they're setting up. But, like... I don't know. It's always just kind of seemed weak to me coming from like Cross Switcher Canceling Cologne like on turn 2, which that really beats hard. But like this, especially with Prime Catcher only being 1 card, like with Cross Switcher, we had like I'm pretty sure I'm on the numbers, but getting 2 of a 4 of is way more likely in a starting and like an opener than getting like a 1 of that being Prime Catcher. But yeah, that's my take on Canceling Cologne. I think it's also kind of good into like Snorlax if you want to use it for that. It's fine into Mimikyu. Like you can use it against that, but like, I don't know. I think if there's a better tech spot, then like you should play that. But that's just my take on it. I don't actually know like how much these guys who played it in the top 4 list actually used it. That's kind of my take on that. Like on the Cologne and Silene, I don't love them. I can see the utility, but like I kind of preferred like at Orlando I preferred the vacuum and in the box for EYC. So yeah, now we can I guess go over like matchups. So this is the first one. This is the main one. I'm covering Collapse and Fires. You know what those do. So this is kind of the main kind of deck. This deck is a powerhouse. Zard is everywhere. And rightfully so. It's like the best deck. So we have kind of 2 variants. We have this one, and then we kind of have Control Zard. So Both are pretty similar. Actually, they're not really. So I can go over them separately. So this one, towards our the key thing to note is the Prime Catcher. So what is this deck trying to do? How is it trying to beat Chien-Pao? So it's trying to beat Chien-Pao by really just like coming from behind. And so Chien-Pao is usually always going to have the 2 prize initiative. Like you're always going to be able to take 2 prizes, whether that be like Prime Catcher Rodom, Iron Hands the active, or just like passing and waiting for them to get a Pidgeot and then Prime Catcher that. Like if you know they're not running, so like Max Belt is the kicker in this matchup. So if you know they're not running Max Belt, I would just assume they're not running Max Belt. Just throw Pow in the active and Shivery Chill or whatever. Is kind of risky though. Like I don't know how much I recommend it. That's how I like to play Chien-Pao, because then if they kill me with Max Belt, then I'm like, all right, now I know, right? Maybe I'm playing a little too risky, but that's how I play against Zard, especially just because like I think Prime Catcher is just like I do think it is better overall into Zard, like better overall into the field, like Tord and then mentioned. But anyways, yeah, if they're playing Prime, if they are playing Prime Catcher, basically like they need to attack, right? So like they're probably going to go after your setup, and that's the most important part about this matchup is ensuring that you have your setup, like you have your all your like double Bidoof, like double Fridge, like Ninja, like you have all your setup and you're just like constantly getting value. Don't feel like you have to take the first prize. I feel like you have to take the first 2 prizes, because if you take the first prize, they play this cool card called Defiance Band and they will use it and you will lose because they will take the first 2 prizes instead of you, which is not good. So yeah, don't take the first prize, take the first 2 prizes against the stack unless you're killing like their only Charmander, then like go crazy, I don't care. But yeah, that's how to play this matchup. Do be wary of like this Radzard. Like it is kind of tricky at the end of the game, which is why bundle is good. You can bundle and then, kind of come back later on. But I've mainly found that like as long as you can keep a setup, they're going to swing Zards, you're going to swing Chien-Paos. It's also why your super rods they're like, they surprise me every time how valuable like it is in Chien-Pao, which I do really respect the 3 super rod in Reagan's list, because it does come up a lot in this matchup where the 4 superiors just aren't enough. Like you do need more energy in the deck to be able to like, you need like 18 energy. Like you need all 8 energy in the deck to get like 10 more. That's like 3 superiors. So you like, that's at the bare minimum. That's not even accounting for prizing or discarding any. You're not discarding superiors, but you know what I mean? Like concealed cards or anything. You pretty much need all 4 superiors at the very bare minimum. Iron Hands, that's why kind of Iron Hands is also really good in this matchup. Like if you can get it while getting a good board state, you can kind of pressure them into like, okay, like if you, I don't even like, you can throw up at hands and be like, I don't even care if you kill back Excalibur, because if you have Prime Catcher or like bundle left, or even if you don't, you just put 1 energy on Chien-Pao and you're just like, I don't care what you do. Like, I guess with Zard, you would need 2 energies because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 attached for turn 6. Yeah, you would need 2. But my point stands is that like, it's kind of this like, it's kind of like a fork piece, like it's like in chess, you're making like a fork, right? So you have to kill the Iron Hands, and we kind of saw this with like last format with like Gardevoir. It's like why Iron Hands was so powerful. It's not super useful into this matchup as much as like just raw attacking with Chien-Pao is. You usually don't use it a lot, but it is something to keep in mind. If they prize Manaphy, then it's like the game's free. So yeah, that's how you play against this one. Against the other version of Charizard from like we can go to Perth, for example. Just go to like Rahul's list because I know he played it. We have the Erie and the Devo. So this one I think goes a little bit slower, and it tries to grind with like Erie and like Devo. It's also annoying that this guy's 130, so I really played against this version, but I think that the kind of strategy is you just kind of play it slow. I think you kind of want to go like the Iron Hands route. Like I think you just want to load up a hands, and they're gonna try to go slow. And instead of you just slamming Chien-Paos, like you don't need to do that. You can just go Iron Hands. It's like, hey, I'm taking 2 prizes every turn. You need to do something, or else I'm gonna win the game. Yeah, I'm not really like scared of this. Like I don't think 1 Erie is like swinging the matchup, especially if you run the Silene. Like you're fine. You're all good. Moving on to like, I guess the other deck. So like next one we have like What is this list? Wait. Okay. Let's go like the last like 1 month. Okay, that's better. Okay. The next one we can go over Mirror Match, because Mirror Match is really interesting. So I've actually never lost a I've never lost a series. I played three mirrors. I think at UIC 3 mirrors or Orlando or something like that. I played like 2 or 3, whatever. I didn't drop a single one. I got kind of lucky in some of them. Like for those of you watching and just like, yeah, but I started Iron Hands twice. Yeah, I know who you. Yeah, sorry, bro. Like I got lucky a couple of times. All right. But I definitely think it is like there's a lot to the mirror. If you go second, you don't lose. Like it's not a coin flip matchup. The person who goes first not only needs to get a setup, but they need to get a fridge down turn 2, and they need to take 2 prizes. If they don't, now you're on the initiative. So they need to do all that, right? So let's say they do, and let's say they get Greninja. They killed 2 fridges. Okay, so what do? You're screwed, right? You lose. No, like you in the mirror match, you want to use Greninja like as much as possible. You want to like spam this guy. You want to like spam Moonlight Shuriken. You want to make it so that they can't can't live the barrage of Moonlight Shurikens. They're just and your targets are the Baxcaliburs. Like you're gonna spam them. You're just gonna be like Moonlight Shuriken, Moonlight Shuriken, Moonlight Shuriken. You're gonna save your rods. You're gonna save your nest balls. You save your Iridas. You're gonna make sure you have all those cards, all that good stuff. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, I don't know. Yeah, you want to be on the 2 prize initiative, like 2, 2, 2. And if you're not on that, then you just go ninja spam. You just go crazy. That's pretty much it. It's mainly like a game of like resource management too. Like, there was this one mirror match I played where they like discarded double candy off of an Ultra Ball. So I was like Prime Catcher backs Hailblade and their like scoop. So you also do have to be like mindful of like what your opponent is doing. But yeah, if you really want to beat the mirror, like play Manaphy. That's a good card. Usually the person with Manaphy in the mirror match has an advantage. Manaphy is like a pretty good card. Like, I'd probably recommend it just overall. So yeah, that's how I played Chien-Pao mirror. It's pretty straightforward. Tina, I would consider like favored, but like it is kind of scary. So like we can look at like top 8 list from Orlando as an example. So like I do run Manaphy, like I mentioned. Oh, the Thorn's interesting. I remember this match. Yeah, the Thorn. 2 Tina V. Okay, I'm learning a lot right now. So yeah, Tina is pretty much like it's exact same as it was last format, right? Like you're just trying to kill the Tina V. If you have the Prime Catcher, they don't have Manaphy down. You go Greninja, like. You go Iron Hands. You just like take 2 prizes, and like you're gonna take 2 prizes before they do. So their way of winning is to beat you in the end game. It's kind of like Zard, except Zard can kind of do it easier. Like Zard can hit for like 180 right away and like exert pressure, and Tina can't. Like Tina can spit, and you're like, I don't care. Iron Hands. Like Zard can go like 180. You need 6 energies. And you're like, like that's a lot scarier than this. But yeah, you just try to take 2 prizes, 2, 2, 2. You want to dodge Roxanne, like that's a huge part to the matchup. Like they don't run Iona, they run Roxanne. So if you end up taking 1 prize, just take another 1 prize. Like just kill with Chien-Pao instead of going Iron Hands, because then you're just like you have 1 more turn to set up your barrels and stuff like that. Getting out double backs is like really nice, which is also kind of why I like the 4 candy. You can like set up double backs easier. But yeah, also Manaphy would help into this because like if they opt to go first, which I think they should if they know you're playing Chien-Pao, they can just like attack with Ninja, which is not good for you. But yeah, that's Tina. I would say it's favorable, but like in the right hands, Tina is very scary. I don't know if I've played against a ton of really like stellar Tina players, so like it is scary in the right. Like this is the deck that is like this is terrifying in the right hands. Same with Zard, to be honest, but like Tina especially. But yeah, just be mindful of the bib rolls. You always want double bib roll out, because if you don't, then you kind of just like you don't deterministically win. Like you kind of just lose because you get like end game like counter catcher backs, Roxanne, Sable Snipe, bib, and now you're just like I can't attack, and they're just like I'll kill bib roll, and yeah, so it's a scary matchup. But like just be faster than them and you'll win. That's all there is to that. Future I kind of talked about. I think this is a pretty straightforward matchup. You just want to go 2-2-2. You want to like use bundle as quickly as possible. The vacuum's also nice against this. You can vacuum off their baton and prime catcher the Iron Hands, and then they're kind of stuck. And now you have another turn to get out your Iron Hands on the Miraidon. One quick note about this is that you want your setup to be like, you don't want it to be the normal 5. Like, you don't want it to be like, normal 5 is like Pow, Ninja, Fridge, Bidoof. You want to play it as if though you're going to bench a hand, so you need to sacrifice a Bidoof. This list also runs minimal Iono too, and also early game you don't really care, right? They're not really, they can't really target the Bidoof barrel like a lot of the time. So with that, this pretty much means you have a bench spot for bundle, which is where I'm kind of getting to, is that you have a bench spot for bundle and you're trying to use bundle on their hands. Now, if they also run bundle or some other dork to like just put down, now you can't do that. And you usually have to go for your prime catcher or hands, whichever is better. But yeah, after you bundle on like turn 2 or whatever, then you can just immediately bench the second Bidoof and you can kind of be set for the rest of the game, which is really nice. So yeah, this matchup, it feels pretty good if you have a good setup. If you don't, like there was one match at UIC, I started Bidoof, went attach pass, and he went future booster capsule energy on Miraidon, and I was like, next game. Like that. Sometimes the game just ends. You're usually more consistent than them anyways, though. And then, yeah, the last kind of matchups I can skim over are, I guess, these 3. Arceus is actually scarier than you'd think. Like, Max Belt makes this actually kind of surprising. Oh, this one's prime catcher? Oh, this one's free. So, like, okay, so where is one like from Orlando that, yeah, the Max Belt makes this way scary. Like the Max Belt makes it so that like they can one shot turn 1 and they can one shot turn 2. I think I just usually want to give them POW anyways and be like, all right, I'll just one shot, and then they go one shot, and I go one shot, and then they go, oh, I can't do anything. Yeah, because you only run 2 guys like a one shot in 2 turns. So the Arceus Armarouche thing is scary. Like this deck is kind of scary. They kind of got some plays, but like you're favored in the trade, right? Like you're favored like normally. Like they don't run Manaphy too, so if they start charging Heatran, you can like Prime Catcher, Ninja, kill Heatran, and Shark Cadet, which they'll usually have another on their bench. Maybe, I don't know. There was this like disgusting play where I think I like ninja'd for 3 prizes somehow. I'm not even sure how I did that. Or not ninja. I had to have ninja'd for 3. I don't know how I did it, but I think he like damaged his like whatever, and then I like went off base and I catch it up and then took 3. So like get creative. Like get creative. Maybe I hands the squawk or something, but like yeah, just know that you are like favored on the initiative, but again, that does have that max belt. The Delphox is something to be kind of scared of. Like they can kind of come back. Like I almost lost a game at UIC where he like went Iono and then Magical Flare kill my only bib. Luckily the 2 cards off Iono were 2 Iridas. Like I didn't need both of them, but that was very nice that he gave those to me. I was just like, here, and he's like, dude, and I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. This is just something to be wary of. It's like you want like both your bib rolls, play this like a normal like play against this like a normal like path deck. The guy I played against also ran Jet Energies, which was like crazy cool. But anyways, should still be favored, but I know it's kind of sketchy with max belt. If you know they're not playing max belt, then it's like it's pretty fine. Yeah, the next one we're gonna talk about is Lugia. Lugia's fine. Like you can take 2. Like you normally like want to just go Chien-Pao for 2 prizes. Even if you like lose to flip, it's fine. Even if they take the first 2, then you can go like I'll like amp your like only Minccino, and then like Lugia V-Star can't kill Iron Hands. The only thing I can kill Iron Hands is like this guy. Yeah, I've never had a problem against Lugia. This deck also just bricks a lot, so it's like it bricks more than Chien-Pao, which is saying something. So it's a favorite matchup. I wouldn't worry about it. Lost Box is kind of interesting. So this is kind of deck I would be like, okay, maybe we should play Manaphy for. Because if you go second in the Lost Box, it's like game over. Oh, this is this list. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, let's find like a more conventional list, maybe. Yeah, okay, this is better. Yeah, so they run like Moon and like hands normally. You don't have to worry about the hands. Mainly just worry about like, okay, they can Moon, discard my stop. You don't even worry about that. Like you just get the thing I gotta worry about is the Ninja and the Sableye. Like, you can out trade them just fine. But like, they're always going to be wanting to poke your guys. Be wary of the prime catcher because that's kind of a thing. I guess now with like Raikou, they can like nest ball force for it, and then cram your only guy. I've had that happen, but mainly just like Ninja going second. Like, so if you're playing against Lost Box, obviously go first. If they go first, which they will choose to go first, once they know you're playing Chien-Pao, sometimes that's before the series starts. I'll never get over that, but yeah, this should be relatively straightforward. Play Mana Feed to lock it up. Then yeah, the last one I want to talk about. Yeah, the last one I really want to talk about is Ancient Box. So this one, again, Jake got second with it. I don't like his list, but whatever. Yeah, basically there's two different kind of forms of this. The first is kind of the more straightforward Ancient Box, and the second is with the Dunsparce. So I think the Dunsparce one is more favored for you. Did they categorize? Did none of them make day 2? What? Wait. Oh, it's a different archetype probably. Okay. Anyways, the Dunsparce one is more favored for you because you can like pick off the Dunsparces. This one is a little bit trickier because they have like double the attackers, first of all, and so they can save their moons for the back, and then also like they kind of have an engine without the Dunsparces, which means you can't just take like free prizes. This is not a great matchup. Like this is, I would consider unfavored because like they just will always kind of get the first smack, and then you don't really have any kind of comeback mechanic. Again, that's why I played Vacuum, because it's like if they are whiffing, even if they capsule multiple guys, like they're usually gonna have a lot of them out. Even just like I go 90 on whatever, 90 on Fluttermane, like you can kind of get creative with it. But yeah, I think that it's I just think it's like one of your worst matchups, just because of like how like much HP these like guys have, and the fact that like this guy can eventually like one shot Chien-Pao. Like I don't think it's great at all. You could consider running like Future Booster Capsule or something, but then it's like they have an Ancient Capsule and it's just like not even worth it. But yeah, I'd say that like overall Chien-Pao has like a really good matchup spread. I didn't really talk about control much. I'll like briefly, yeah, control and like Pidgeot. I'll like briefly go over like control, because I've had like a lot of people like be like, well, how do you beat control? Like, Jared, how do you beat control? Like, just don't play cards. Like they like rely on you playing cards. Just don't play cards. Like it's really that simple. Like you just have Chien-Pao, Baxcalibur, maybe Ninja, and then you only get Ninja out, in my opinion, if you start triple eared on your hand, then it's like, I don't need Ninja. Like I'm fine. You just keep attacking. Even if you start Fridge and they start Snorlax, you just go like Buster Tail, Buster. Like they're not gonna penny loop. Like they need cards, especially with like. You have a Spiritomb, again, that like locks it up. I don't think Snorlax is favored like by any means. Like I did lose against one Orlando. I got 2-0'd, so that showed me. So I think it's an unfavored matchup, but I think that there's like ways you can definitely play around it. Same with like Pidgeot control. This deck is again, I haven't really played against this one, but it doesn't seem terrible. Like if you just like gun down to Pidgeot, they have the luck. They can't really like Luxray because that's like a 2 prize liability. Especially running Cancel and Clone for Mimikyu, it seems really good for you and the Silene. Like, because obviously that Reagan teched out for the Pidgeot control. But yeah, those are going to be kind of bad matchups as well. But yeah, that is pretty much everything Chien-Pao. The deck is in like a pretty good spot right now. I think it is like probably in the best spot I think Chien-Pao has ever been. So that's super exciting, and it's nice to see like really good players do well with it. So yeah, I hope you all like this little bit of a video essay form. I know a lot of other players are doing it, so decided to jump on the bandwagon. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comment section below. I've kind of been taking a break from coaching. I'll probably resume after, what's today? Yeah, I'll probably resume after Indy. I've just been like mega booked with like a bunch of trips, so kind of Chien-Pao'd out for now, but we'll be back soon. Again, if you have any questions, leave them down below, and thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.